Hello everyone and welcome into my latest frozen pizza review. One of my biggest complaints is that everything is always the same and I just get bored after a while. So when I go to a grocery store and they're selling the same brand of frozen pizza like DiGiorno is everywhere, then going from one grocery chain to another grocery chain, they're all carrying the same things, and after a while it gets boring and I just need to mix it up a little bit, Here in the US, if you're looking for Oreo cookies, you could go to a gas station, a grocery store. Everybody's got them everywhere, and they're good cookies. But after a while, you just want something different. So when we go to different grocery stores, we often will go to stores like Trader Joe's, Aldi, Winco, because they have frozen pizzas, but different kinds that we can't buy anywhere else. So imagine my surprise that a place we don't go too often is Target department stores. A viewer left a comment recently that we should try, I think it was Cape Cod Cafe pizza. I never heard of it. They said, if you can get this in your area, you should try it. Well, I Googled it and it showed it was available at Target. Now, I haven't been to Target in a while, but that's unusual for Target to carry something so different. But come to find out, it appears to only be available in Target stores on the East Coast. So we can't get it out here on the West Coast. But I said, well, if Target carries that, what else do they have? Well, Target is starting to wake up and smell the coffee, because they are now starting to not only have their own decent brand called Good and Gather, but they're also carrying products no other grocery store in the state carries. As far as I can tell, they're the only ones. So when I went down the frozen pizza section, I saw 4 or 5 or a half dozen different frozen pizzas I have never before seen in my life. Now, it can't just simply price shop them because nobody else sells them. So instead of this typical, we'll all sell the same thing and you'll shop here for the price. No, you sell something nobody else sells, and then I either pay your price or I don't buy it. I'm all for that. Not every day, but sometimes I just need that little mix up. So this was available, and this is a very different pizza for us. This is from a company called ZeroCarb Lyfe, or ZC Life as it says. And this is for people that are avoiding gluten or all the carbs. Maybe they're keto. So instead of a pizza crust made of bread, it's a pizza crust made of chicken. Yeah, the crust is chicken. And then, of course, you've got all your same toppings on that crust that you would traditionally have on a pizza. So it's not vegan, it's not esoteric in that sense that it's anything more than, let's just say, keto or people that want to be gluten-free. And this was $12.99 for a pretty small, thin pizza. But you know what? I've never seen it before. I'm eager to try it. It's different, and I'm in the mood for different. However, videos that focus on different things won't get as many views as if I cover pizza rolls or Hot Pockets. So we are going to cover those too, just not today. Today I need something different. Is different better? I don't know. This says shredded cheeses, beef, and seasonings on a white meat chicken crust. Is there tomato sauce on it? I don't know. Of course, it's important you cook this to at least, so the chicken crust is 165 degrees Fahrenheit for safety reasons, but I'm sure it'll be fine. And this has an expiration date of a year, actually February 20th of 2027. Today it's April 22nd of 2026, so I guess it'll stay good in the freezer a long time. Ultimately though, if you know anything about me, pizzas don't stay in my freezer that long. Not a chance we ever hit the expiration date. But is this going to be a new favorite? Am I going to hate it? Oh, there's definitely tomato sauce on it. I can see it. But this thing is like razor thin. And I imagine because of the cost of chicken and also the difficult nature of cooking that chicken when everything's sitting on top of it, that's probably going to add to the challenge. So you can make the chicken thinner like a smash burger. It cooks faster. And if you want that crispiness, so it's more emulating a crust, you need to get it thinner. So all of this is totally acceptable, but even for a box this thick, and this is a thin box, this pizza's razor thin. But hey, Uh, as long as it tastes good, I'll eat 2 of them. I got no problem with that. At $13 is a little pricey, but like I said, chicken, that's probably your most expensive part, and cheese is also pretty expensive. So I get it. I see why we're here. It's not just, somebody being greedy. It costs more to make this. The only thing I want to know is it worth it? At least in my opinion. And that's what we're about to find out. So I'll give you we'll take a look here, give you a look at this pizza. If I can figure out how to get the plastic off of it. Okay. So that's what it looks like. And then this crust is all chicken meat, which seems to be pretty well stuck. I can't say I've ever had this problem where the pizza crust is stuck to the cardboard. What is going on here? You definitely want to remove it from the cardboard. But it's like it's glued right on there. I'm having some difficulty. Did you ever eat those little candy buttons as a kid, and they were like on a sheet of receipt paper, and they were like 4 or 5 across, and you'd peel them off and a little bit of the paper came off and you ate it anyway because you're a kid and it's candy. It didn't hurt you. That's what this is reminding me of. Like, that ain't right. This is definitely a problem. I mean, the paper is coming off and sticking to the back of the pizza, just like those little candy buttons. Look, for $13, could you put a piece of wax paper between the two, maybe? That would have solved this. Okay, so we're not starting out very good here. Let me let this sit for a minute, and then I'll try separating it. And then once I do that, I'll throw it in the oven, and I'll come back here in just an instant and show you what it looks like, and we'll give it a taste test. Okay, so here we go. Stand by. All right, it looks like we got it all figured out. And that is what our final result looks like here. And I'm going to just set it here and walk around. And here's how we figured it out. My wife said, hey, why don't you put that in the defroster in the microwave? Set it to defrost for like 20 seconds, which I did. And then the cardboard came off clean. No problems. Maybe they should add that to their directions on the back of the box. Also looked at the ingredients. There's a blend of cheeses on here, mozzarella, provolone, and I think, well, I'll pull the ingredients up and put them on screen. But everything about this sounds great. The ingredients look clean and everything you can pronounce. Now, I've never had a chicken crust pizza before, and it does say that you should cook it directly on the oven rack, but it's not, the chicken crust is it's not rigid. So the result is when you see the bends and curves in this crust, it's because that's where it was finding the space between in the rack and dropping down, and then it was dripping down, creating a mess. So prepare for that if you're going to make one at home. It smells very strange. It smells sort of like you're cooking chicken. Didn't smell like I was making a pizza. That's neither here nor there, but just an interesting observation. This is my first time ever, so. It says to wait until it cools off before you cut it. I suspect, even getting this out of the oven, it's very flimsy. It's not very rigid. So I brought the cutting board to it and just slid it off of the rack onto the cutting board. But I suspect that's why they want you to wait till it cools down before you cut it. But a pizza this thin isn't going to stay hot very long. So I wouldn't walk away from it for too long, or it'll probably be cold quite quickly. There's not a lot to retain heat here. With that said, enough talking. Let's give it a try. Here's the one piece. There's the bottom. It looks like a regular crust, doesn't it? You wouldn't know that was chicken from looking at it. And the top, nicely cooked. It does seem to come out looking darker on camera than it does in person. So not too worried about that. And it wanted it in the oven for 10 to 15 minutes, and we stopped it at about 12 and a half minutes for us. So those, and they do say on the instructions, that's a pretty wide range between 10 and 15 minutes. It depends on your oven. It depends on your personal preference of wellness, of how much you want it done. So with that, I think it's time to try it. Here we go. Okay, why am I making faces? I know I'm making faces. This, I, nothing about this tastes like chicken. If anything, it seems like some kind of a weird flour crust. It's chewy. That's where it differentiates. A crust, traditional pizza crust, thin or thick, chews like bread. This chews like, hold on, let me think of something. It's almost like a tortilla that's made of cassava or something, different than flour, but still bread. That's chicken meat. I don't taste chicken. I smell chicken. When I bring the pizza up to my face to take a bite, I get a strong sense of chicken, but that's not the flavor. Not that look, it's chicken. Everything tastes like chicken, right? I was expecting more of a chicken flavor. And it's already getting cold. If you're looking for a healthier alternative, especially if you're trying to keep the carbs low or you're trying to stay away from gluten, you just want to eat healthier, you're keto, whatever the reason is, it's fine. There's nothing bad about it. It's bland. It needs something. The cheeses are fine. The tomato sauce is fine. The beef that they put on there is fine. But it's not outstanding. It's not like this is the best pizza I ever had in my life. It's not bad though. I just think for $13, I could buy a pizza I like better, regardless of how small or how thin it is. This is more about more expensive ingredients. The chicken is going to cost more. That blend of cheese is going to cost more. And that's going to be represented in the price. And for all the reasons we talked about, chicken and how much time it needs to cook, you've got to get that chicken super thin if you're using that as your crust. So I could easily sit down and eat all this and still be hungry. Losing weight could also be just eating less. So they're kind of solving that problem too. If you want to eat healthier and you don't want to feel like you're eating food that's kind of gross, this is not gross. This is quite good. It's not outstanding. So for me, given what it is, it's straight down the middle, 5 out of 10. Now, if we're comparing this to other healthy alternatives like cauliflower crust and vegan cheese, by comparison, this may be a 10. So keep that in mind depending on your personal preferences. Thank you for watching. We'll catch you all in the next one. Until then, bye for now.